Hi everyone, my name is Shauna, in case you don't know, and welcome back to another video. Today I really felt like having my hair up, but I have short hair at the moment, so I was like pigtails, but each pigtail is uneven. But this hairstyle low-key looks like one that a 3-year-old should have, not a 23-year-old. Anyways, in today's video, I'm going to be doing a reading vlog. So basically, I realized I have too many physical books because I rearranged my bookshelf the other day and there's a lot. Cut to the clip of my bookshelf in 3, 2, 1. So this is my bookshelf. I'm not going to show you all the way to the ground because the floor is a mess right now. But basically, the bare minimum for each little box, and there is 16 of these boxes, is that there is 2 rows of these. So there's 1 row right here, and then if I lift up those big books and you look back there, do you see there's a 2nd row? But then on 6 of these boxes, we have stacks that don't fit vertically in the boxes, and I just feel like for the 3rd row I like to do them horizontally. So I have a lot of physical books. Oh, and there's also a stack of audiobooks right there. They're all discarded library audiobooks, so they're not currently in use by the library. So as you can see, I have too many books, and I only really have that IKEA bookshelf that I just showed you, and I have a tall bookshelf for Harry Potter specific books, but that bookshelf is like overflowing and there's too many. So I need to read down my physical TBR, and I hate to say it, I also need some of these books to be like 1 or 2 stars so that I can get rid of them without feeling any shame. Every time I get rid of like a 3-star or 4-star book or even a 5-star book, I'm like, I feel guilty about this and I feel like I'm gonna regret everything. So I only get rid of like 2 and 1-star books unless it's like an exceptional scenario. So I thought that a fun way to get my TBR down this year would be to do themed reading vlogs. I am not gonna buy any more books for a while until I get the amount of books there down. I also want to acknowledge that there has been a lot of people who've done themed reading vlogs, but one of the people that I've been watching a lot in particular that is an inspiration for this video is Vampire Kaylee. She does some really fun reading vlogs. So I am basically going to have a theme for each reading vlog, and I will read 3 books off my shelf. I'm starting with one that is going to be fairly quick to film, and that is a graphic novel reading vlog. So essentially I'm choosing 3 graphic novels that are sitting on my shelf, and I am reading those 3, and I will be filming the process of reading these 3. So one thing about my shelf being that filled with books is that it's really hard to like get books off of my shelf when I want to read them. So I am only going to show you 1 book right now, but I will tell you what the other 2 books are that I will be reading. So I'm a mood reader, so the first graphic novel that I'm in the mood to read out of the 3 that I marked down that I was going to read for this vlog is The Cardboard Kingdom, which is by Chad Sell. So the reason why I want to read this book is because my kindergarten teacher's daughter is an author. I think I've mentioned her on here before, and she like writes for graphic novels. So she wrote one for this collection. So The Cardboard Kingdom is a series, and on Goodreads it has the most concise description of the series that I can see, because on here there's like 2 different descriptions, but I like what it says on Goodreads all in one concise like paragraph. It says, "Welcome to a neighborhood of kids who transform ordinary boxes into colorful costumes and their ordinary block into cardboard kingdom. This is the summer when 16 kids encounter knights and rogues, robots and monsters, and their own inner demons on one last quest before school starts again." So this is technically like middle grade or children's, and essentially Chad Sell is like the creator and like the person who's connecting all of these stories together, but each story has a different like author that's collaborating with him, because it says that there is 16 stories in here. Now the one that my kindergarten teacher's daughter wrote, I feel like I need something more concise to call her, because I'm just like kindergarten teacher's daughter. I'm like, I don't know if I'd consider us friends because we don't like hang out or talk that much, but I see her at every single Comic-Con that I go to and I talk to her at those, so I guess you could say we're friends. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep calling her my kindergarten teacher's daughter for the moment. So the one that she contributed to was The Animal Queen. So that's the one that I'm most excited to read. I do see that this book is labeled as LGBT, so I'm very interested in finding out how that comes into play in the Cardboard Kingdom. This will be the first one that I read. It is 288 pages, but it's a graphic novel, and I can read most graphic novels in one sitting, so I should be able to finish this in like an hour or two, I think. I do all of my reading late at night. So when I do updates for this vlog, it'll be late at night. So like it'll be a different setup because I can't film in front of my window when it's late at night because there's no natural lighting. So now let's talk about the other ones that I have to read for the graphic novels that you will see physically in a little bit, but currently I am not gonna go grab them off my shelf right now because I don't feel like dealing with that. So this next one is by another author that I like, and I met her in 2021 at Emerald City Comic Con, and she is a phenomenal author and a great person, and I have been wanting to read her graphic novels because I've just been reading her novels so far, so I'm choosing to include one of her graphic novels on this list. So the one for this reading vlog that I'm going to read is Constantine, right? Why did I say Constantine? Constantine Distorted Illusions. I kept stumbling over those words. So this is written by Cami Garcia and it is illustrated by Isaac Goodhart. So I'm going to read the description to you, but Cami Garcia writes graphic novels for DC, so DC Comics, you know? So Constantine is a character from DC. So the description reads, Constantine is not your average bad boy. John Constantine is, and has always been, a magician of the highest caliber who doesn't need additional training from any highbrow magician. Thank you very much. Sensing the opportunity for independence, Constantine falsely accepts an apprenticeship in the United States to instead become the lead singer of his best friend's punk band, Mucous Membrane. When the band begins to dabble in magic, a complicated spell gets out of hand, and the disastrous consequences might be more than Constantine can handle. So I'm very much looking forward to reading this one. This one is also labeled as LGBT, and this one is more young adult as opposed to the other one, which was middle grade or like kids. So I'm very much looking forward to reading this one. I know a little bit about Constantine, like I've seen him in DC crossovers because like I used to love The Flash. I don't know exactly what point in The Flash I like fell off. I mean, I watched all of The Flash, but eventually like I lost interest and I was just watching to finish the show. But anyways, I had seen Constantine in some of those crossovers episodes, and I also watched like 3 seasons of Arrow and he was in some. So I know a little bit about this character. I don't know a ton and I'm interested in learning more about him. This book is 179 pages, so again, another book that I can finish in 1 to 2 hours. Then this next book is one that I've heard a little bit about, but not a ton, and I just saw it at Goodwill like sometime last year and I bought it. But the thing is, after I bought it, I was like, I don't know if I actually want to read this one. I just felt the urge to buy a book that day, so I bought this book. But a lot of people have said really good things about this book, so hopefully it's good. So this is called Ghosts, and it's by Raina Telgemeier. And it was a nominee for a Goodreads Choice Award, which means that it's pretty good, or at least a decent number of people like it. I don't know that much about this book. It is middle grade, fantasy. It's also categorized as children. I feel like on Goodreads, so many books get categorized as both middle grade and children when those are two distinctive categories. And I wish that Goodreads was be more strict about which genre certain things fall in. Like the Harry Potter books, whenever I check them, they're like young adult, middle grade, children's. And whenever I read that, I'm like, well, which one is it? Can you just like clarify which one it is? Because, you know? Anyways, I'm gonna read you the summary for this one. I've been rambling so much, and this is gonna be a vlog, so this is gonna be a long video apparently because I can never stop rambling. According to Goodreads, the summary reads, Katrina and her family are moving to the coast of Northern California because her little sister Maya is sick. Kat isn't happy about leaving her friends for Bahia de la Luna, but Maya has cystic fibrosis and will benefit from the cool, salty air that blows in from the sea. As the girls explore their new home, a neighbor lets them in on a secret. There are ghosts in Bahia de la Luna. Maya is determined to meet one, but Kat wants nothing to do with them. As the time of year when ghosts reunite with their loved ones approaches, Kat must figure out how to put aside her fears for her sister's sake and her own. This one sounds like it could be hard-hitting because there's cystic fibrosis rep and there's ghosts, so I feel like it could deal with like grief. So I'm very interested in seeing how that all plays out and seeing whether it's as emotional as I think it has the potential to be. So yeah, I will see all of you in my next update, which will be after I finish reading The Cardboard Kingdom. So I decided to wear a turtleneck under a sweatshirt, and this low-key looks really bad, so we're just gonna ignore it and not talk about it, okay? I finished reading The Cardboard Kingdom as expected. I finished it in one sitting. It took me about 45 or 50 minutes to read the whole thing. I'm choosing not to rate this one, but I will share some of my thoughts about this. So this was sort of basically just as I described earlier. in the video. It is basically a bunch of short stories which is created by a bunch of different authors, and these short stories involve these kids who all live in a neighborhood together, and they're all playing this imaginative like fantasy world that they've all created and they keep adding on to. Now it's called the Cardboard Kingdom because a lot of the props and costumes that they have are made of cardboard. So I think it's an interesting concept, especially because like this is what a lot of kids do and what a lot of kids have fun with. So I think a lot of kids will see themselves and the way that they play represented in this story. For me personally, I'm a 23-year-old. I'm not a kid, and I felt like because of that, I didn't find this book as like fun and meaningful and impactful and stuff, but I think it's because of my age. Like I think I may have enjoyed this when I was younger. I mean, I loved things like Baby Mouse and the Bones series when I was younger, so I definitely could see myself enjoying this one when I was younger, but just because I'm older, I'm not as much into it. So I'm choosing not to rate it for that reason, and also because I have this thing, I don't know if I've exactly talked about it before. So basically, if I like know an author IRL, so say like I have some family friends who are authors, and if any of my friends that I know like outside of the internet hypothetically were to become authors, I wouldn't rate their books like lower than 4 stars. But I'm also really fond of honesty, and so if a book by a friend or someone I know outside the internet, if I would be rating it lower than 4 stars if I were to rate it, I just choose not to rate it, which is what I'm going to do for this book because my kindergarten teacher's daughter has 2 stories in this collection. I thought she just had one. She had one that she like mainly wrote, and then there's this one at the end. It's just called Summer's End, and all the authors worked on that one. So yeah, that's why I'm choosing not to rate this one. I liked how there were some trans and queer coded stories in here. I especially like that it was coded because I feel like it's really important to have like LGBTQ plus rep, but when it comes to like kids stories, you get a lot of homophobic and transphobic and just queerphobic in general, like parents trying to like be like, oh, we have to ban this book, but this representation is important for kids. And so because this book didn't explicitly like label it as that, you know, and didn't do it super intensely, I think it could bypass a lot of homophobic parents' radars and give kids stories where they can feel seen in their gender representation. Like I say that, but Goodreads was like, let's just add the LGBT label on here. That's why I love like coded characters. Like I think sometimes it's misrepped, but I think in the case of like this specific story and some other kids stories, I think coded rep is fine. So I'm going to talk about my 2 favorites, and then I have a cosplay project that I'm working on that I need to go continue on. So my absolute favorite is The Gargoyle. Here's The Gargoyle. It's written by Michael Cole and Chad Sell. So The Gargoyle was the deepest story in my opinion, and these deeper stories are ones that had more of an impact on me. So it deals with this boy and his parents are fighting, and it never explicitly states this, but it's pretty clear that his parents are getting a divorce and that the dad is not taking the lawyer told you to leave, get off as seriously as he should be. And it's sort of the impact, especially on sleep, for this young boy, and it's sort of him turning to his imaginary characters and worlds to like cope with the stress of that. So I really liked that one. If I had included ratings for all the different stories in there, that one would have been a 4-star rating, which is the highest that I would have rated all of them, because I did initially like start writing what I rated each one, and then the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, no, I'm just gonna like cut back my review and somehow summarize it in like a couple paragraphs for Goodreads. My other favorite is a 3-star read because I only had one 4-star read in here. Oh, did I even tell you why I'm in my basement? I'm in my basement because whenever I film a reading vlog and my parents are home, I feel like I have to be quiet when I'm talking in my room or downstairs, and I thought if I go in the basement, I can talk as loud as I want. Unfortunately, the lights down here are really noisy and low-key a little freaky to be down here at night, especially since there's like huge spiders that live here. So a little freaky. I've never been a huge fan of being in my basement for long periods of time, but I figured this would be best for like filming nightly reading updates. Also, we get like rats and stuff a lot, so hopefully I don't hear one because I think that would actually scare the crap out of me. Here's my other favorite, The Big Banshee. It's by Katie Schenkel and Chad Sell. So The Big Banshee is about this girl, and she is like really outgoing and she wants to join in with her peers in her neighborhood and join in on this like fantasy play adventure that they're going on. But unfortunately, she gets bullied by another kid in the neighborhood, and unfortunately, her grandma is sexist, and her grandma's like, girls are not supposed to be loud. You're not supposed to be a loud girl. And so I felt like it dealt with some really hard-hitting topics. I also really liked the art, especially for the character designs in The Big Banshee, and so yeah, that's why I gave it 3 stars, and it really stood out to me as opposed to some of the other stories. So I would say if you have a kid in your life, this one is one that you should consider having your kid read, especially if it's something that sounds like they'd be interested in it. If you're an adult or a teenager, I don't think you necessarily will enjoy this one as much as kids could enjoy it. Like, there's some kids books that are like overarching and like everyone can love them, but I'm not sure that this is one that can like reach over to adults loving it as well. But I could be wrong. That's just my opinion and the sense that I get from this book. So not reading this book, and that's all my thoughts on that book. I have 2 more graphic novels to read for this video. I have Constantine and I have Ghosts. I'm not sure what I'm in the mood to read next, so when I see you in the next clip, I will probably be telling you which one I chose, and the next clip may even be me having finished that one and giving you my thoughts on that one. But yeah, I have a cosplay project that I'm gonna go work on, and next time I won't wear a turtleneck shirt with a sweatshirt. Don't do what I did. Also, oh my god, wait. Okay, I talked about this on Instagram, but I actually feel like talking about it here, so why not make this video exponentially longer than already is? Last night, my cat clawed my eyeball. I was petting her and she's purring and she clawed my eyeball. So if you've been noticing, there's been like a red splotch. I'm gonna sort of pull my eyelid a little bit, which I know is triggering to some people, so feel free to just like skip forward 30 seconds and it'll be done. Did you see red there? Yeah, I have a little scratch on my eyeball. It's not on my cornea or my pupil, so it's like not the end of the world. I just have to monitor for infection, but yeah, my cat's very special. Here, I'll include a picture of her. It's the sweetheart one, the one that purrs all the time, the one that warms up to people. She's the one who did this to me. So hopefully when I talk to all of you next, this won't be as noticeable. My doctor told me to come in tomorrow if it gets worse, so we'll just have to see what happens. I finally read another graphic novel for this vlog. I feel like I forgot about this vlog for a couple weeks. I told myself I would be so good at sticking to this and getting it done so quickly, and then I forgot about this vlog. But I'm back! So the graphic novel that I read is Ghost, and this is by Raina Telgemeier. I'm not sure if I said her name correctly. So this one is about these 2 sisters. It mainly focuses on this one cat, and the younger sister Maya has cystic fibrosis, and so her parents move her into this small town in Northern California, and Kat in particular really isn't looking forward to moving into this small town. It's a foggy town, and as soon as they get there, they find out that there is ghosts in the town. Now, Kat right here is skeptical of the ghost, and once she finds out that the ghosts are real, she's very scared of the ghosts, and at first you're not 100% sure why, but you sort of see why and it unravels why. But her fear of the ghost and her initial like disbelief of the ghost connects back to her sister's health condition, which I thought was done really well. I was not expecting it to go that deep, and I thought this book was really cool how you ghosts in Dia de los Muertos to like connect to these 2 sisters and the knowledge that at some point she will pass away, most likely at a younger age because of her cystic fibrosis. So that was a lot deeper than I thought. I also had no clue that it was this connected to Dia de los Muertos. I had no clue that it was connected to it, but I thought that that part of the story was really, really interesting. See, look, like it's a huge plot point. I personally was not the biggest fan of the art style in this. Just it's not my personal like favorite ever. But besides that one issue I had with the story, I loved everything else about it. I thought it was really deep, especially for like a middle grade graphic novel. I really, really liked Maya as a character. She is super sweet, super lively, despite her cystic fibrosis diagnosis, but she also has moments where she slips through and you can see how hard it is for her. And this book focuses a lot too, which I really appreciated, on how Kat is dealing with her sister having cystic fibrosis. And I thought it was really interesting how this book on the surface seems like ghosts, but it's so much deeper because it's about living with a terminal diagnosis and having a family member who has a terminal diagnosis. So I thought that was really, really interesting and well done. Also, there's one more cute thing I want to mention about this book. This book has like In-N-Out Burger, but it's like off-brand In-N-Out Burger, like trying not to have copyright issues, so it's double back, and I thought that was so cute. And then let me find the next part. Little girl Maya really loves Let It Go, but it's like a parody of Let It Go, or like a different version of it, because if you actually put song lyrics into a book, you have to pay so much money to get the copyright in order to have it in the book. So yeah, I feel like my thoughts on this one were really short, but I really did like this one, so I gave it 4 stars. I would definitely recommend this one, even if this one doesn't seem like it's your typical like go-to age group and stuff, because I think that this book has a lot that it can offer a lot of people, and I think it's really eye-opening into being around people with terminal illnesses, because since it focuses mostly on Kat, it's mostly about like her experience with her sister having it. So I thought that was really well done. Oh, and one more thing I want to mention is I really liked how at the end of the book, the author included some like real facts here about Dia de los Muertos, which was really cool to have in there, and about cystic fibrosis. Like she even links a website for you to learn more about. So I like that she showed that she is very well researched on these subjects and that she researched them thoroughly before putting them into her graphic novel. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and tomorrow I'm gonna try and read Constantine Distorted Illusions, and I will wrap up this vlog hopefully tomorrow. It's time for the final update for this reading vlog because I finished Constantine, why do I keep saying Constantine in this vlog? I finished Constantine Distorted Illusions by Cami Garcia and Isaac Goodhart. So I feel like the back of this book is very misleading because it makes it seem like the huge plot line is gonna be that there's a complicated spell that gets out of hand. There is a complicated spell that gets out of hand, but this graphic novel, let me see how many pages it is. This graphic novel is less than 200 pages, but it's like past the 100-page mark that the spell gets out of hand. So the majority of this book, we are just seeing Constantine, why am I saying Constantine? For the majority of this graphic novel, you're just seeing Constantine going through his life in the US, trying to get some independence and just hanging out with his friends. There's some romance in here, and there's obviously magic. So before I get too much into my thoughts on this book, I want to say that I overall would say that I enjoyed it, but I feel like this would have been so much better if it was longer. Like maybe if this was a series of like 4 graphic novels with this length. I adored the art style. If this was for the art style and the artwork, I'll give it 5 stars. But there's more to a graphic novel than just the art style. So like, let me show you the page where I realized that I was going to love the art style. The first page. There's so much detail and I just love the design of the characters. There's a few more pages I want to show that I'm just like really in love with. I am in love with her character design so much. She looks so freaking awesome. And then there's a lot of like purple and pink colors in there and like the settings and the backgrounds and stuff. It looks so pretty. It's gorgeous. It's stunning. I know I mentioned at the start of this vlog there's queer up in here. I figured out what that queer up is. It's sort of light because it's only mentioned like briefly in passing that Constantine is bi or pan. He likes both women and men. I immediately assumed bi because like the color scheme was giving bi colors. That's why I assumed bi, but he could be pan, he could be omni, but it's clear that he likes more than just one gender. Now in terms of this book feeling too short, the huge reason why I felt like it was too short is that I felt like there wasn't enough deep topics in here and like deeper meaning. Like it's one thing to read a book and enjoy it and be like, that was good. And it's another thing to like read a book and enjoy it and be like, this book changed me. This book is something that I'm in love with. I took something away from this book. Like I didn't really get that deepness, and a lot of times to get that deepness, especially with this, I feel like it would have to be longer because I can't logistically think of anything that like I would take out to replace with that deep part. So if it was like longer and there was more parts added, then I feel like it could have been deeper. The only thing that got like semi-deep was the plotline with Constantine's stepfather, which I thought was written really well, but it wasn't super deep in my opinion, but it was still written really well and was super sweet. The other reason why I feel like this should have been longer is because there is romance in here, and the romance feels sort of insta-lovey because this is so short that you don't have a long time to see the relationship develop. Now I thought that there was great chemistry between the lovers, but I think that if this had been longer, it would have felt less insta-lovey and more like a generic like, not generic, like genuine, that was the word I'm looking for. It would feel more like a genuine relationship if it was longer and you got to see more time of them developing and getting to know each other and like dating and stuff. Now, Constantine is known for this like tan coat. I'm not gonna spoil it, but like when you see that symbolism in here, it hits hard. I was like, dang, I didn't think you were gonna get that literally at all. I think this graphic novel definitely leaves it so that there is a chance for there to be more additions to this series, and I really hope that there is some, because I feel like this is a good base that could really lead to a great series. So I'm ending up giving this one 3 stars, meaning that I enjoyed it, but I feel like there was a lot of room for improvement and it could have been a ton better. Also, one more thing is Constantine feels just like as stereotypically British as you can get. Like, it feels like an American person writing a British character. I don't know if I'm the only person that got that vibe or if other people get that vibe. Listen, I love Kimi Garcia, but it felt like she was trying to put in as many British cliches in there as possible to make him seem as stereotypically British and different from his American peers. So yeah, 3-star read. I enjoyed it, but could have been better. I'm definitely going to be reading more of Kimi Garcia's graphic novels and seeing how those turn out. For Kimi Garcia, I know that I own Teen Titans Raven, Teen Titans Beast Boy, and Teen Titans Beast Boy and Raven. I have to figure out the order to read those, but I know that I own all 3 of those. And there's also Teen Titans Robin that I still need to get because I want to read all of Kimi Garcia's books because I really like her. So yeah, let's recap the books that I read for this vlog. The first one that I read was Cardboard Kingdom. I chose not to read that one. I thought that I would have really enjoyed that one as a kid, but now that I'm older, I probably didn't enjoy it as much as I probably would have if I had read it when I was a kid. And then I read Ghost, and Ghost was my favorite one that I read for this vlog. And that one I highly recommend to people because I feel like there's some really great stuff that people can take away from it, and I feel like it's a really impactful story. And then I read Constantine, which was a 3-star read, which would probably be my like second favorite one in this vlog. I'm not saying that Cardboard Kingdom is bad because I genuinely think that it's a good graphic novel for kids. I just feel like, I don't know, it didn't have the same effect on me since I'm an adult. So yeah, those were the ranking of the 3 books that I read and my overall thoughts on them. I hope all of you enjoyed this vlog. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to me if you haven't already. I'm gonna hopefully be doing more of these reading vlogs. I think it's a great way to get through some books on my shelves that I wouldn't otherwise normally get to. If you have any theme ideas for these reading vlogs, you should either DM my personal account on Instagram or go ahead and comment on one of my Bookstagram posts with the theme ideas. I have some ideas in mind, like fantasy, hyped books, romance, specifically like adult romance, and then young adult romance, like sectioning romance off in different sections. I don't know, I have a lot of ideas and I'm hoping I can get to some of those. As you saw at the start of this video, I have way too many books. I'm trying to read them down before I'm allowing myself to get any new books, well, buy any new books. I got 3 books since I filmed my like bookshelf and what I have there, but in my defense, 2 of them were ARCs that I got for free and 1 of them was a giveaway win. So I don't count those as breaking my book buying ban because I didn't buy them, you know? Anyways, if you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to me if you haven't already. I try to upload a video at least once a week. My other social medias will be linked down in the description below. I'm also a cosplayer, so all of my cosplays are over on TikTok and Instagram if any of you are interested in cosplay. I hope all of you are having a great March, and I'll see all of you in my next video. Until next time, goodbye.